All right. Welcome to 10 Minutes to 10 Wins, where we'll look at improving teams via the transfer portal. So we want to start by finding impact players that the teams will be losing via graduation or to the portal and find a way to replace those players. So the team that we're going to look at is Miami, Ohio. So Miami, Ohio had a strong senior class. They also had 3 impact players who entered the transfer portal. And an impact player is measured by having a KM performance score of 70 or higher. This score takes into account player performance over the course of a season based on competition level compared to 20 years of his historic data. So we see Miami, Ohio is losing their top running back, Rashad Amos, their top defensive lineman in Caden Woolard, and also a top wide receiver. Who's that? Gage. So let's add Rashad Amos to the table and look at some of these other players that are in the portal that we can compare to a Rashad Amos level type player. All right, let's sort all of these running backs by those who haven't found a team yet. Okay, and then let's rank them by carries as well to see who's had the same workload as a Rashad Amos. Let's remove everyone who's had less than 50 plus rushing yards a game. So let's just let's sort by those who've had 50 plus rushing yards per game to see the level of production. Have all of the running backs in the portal who have run for at least 50 yards per game. So let's click on one of them. Look at Jonah Coleman out of Arizona. All right, so here's his KM scores, his metrics, and a coach based on whatever the team goals are, whatever specific metrics you're looking at, you can send a direct offer to this player, or you can also send a direct offer to some of the other guys that we identified in the portal who are available. Okay, let's go ahead and add Gage to the player table and see if we can match that same level of production. So these are all the other receivers that have entered the transfer portal. So now let's just look at those receivers that had at least 3 receptions per game. Okay, it's a lot of guys. All right, let's now look at the receivers that had 3 receptions per game that are still left in the transfer portal, because a lot of these guys seem to have found a school to go to. All right, so we got 6 guys that are left in here with 3 plus receptions per game. Let's just do one more ranking by touchdowns. Okay. And then that top guy there, Trayvon Rudolph. Let's take a look at him. Out of Northern Illinois. Ohio's not that far from Northern Illinois. So, I mean, if this is a player that fits the potential production of a Gage, we can go in, send him an offer, and see if he'd be interested in joining the squad. All right, so let's look at replacing this defensive lineman, Kalen Woolard. So first, we're going to add Caden to the table. And then we want to look at all of the defensive linemen who entered the portal. Okay, so here's all the defensive linemen. So looking at Caden, his performance score was at 82. How about we sort all of these defensive linemen by their performance score? to compare. Okay, now let's look at all the D linemen that are still in the portal. So which one of these guys haven't chosen a team? A lot of those top guys have already found a new home. Okay, so Miami, Ohio gave up some points last year. So let's see how these player stats change when we look at them against offenses that scored at least 25 plus points a game. And then let's add an additional filter here, looking at the players who had at least 3 tackles per game. All right, so here's our list of players. Let's take a look at Gentle Hunt. Gentle's an interesting name. Hopefully he's the opposite of Gentle on the field. So if this guy fits the profile of the type of player, you can directly send him an offer. So let's see if we can improve the secondary. Miami did a solid job, a decent job on third down, only giving up about 30% on third down. On fourth down, however, they gave up a little bit more than their competition. So there's some room to improve on defense. So let's look at some of the cornerbacks. Let's see if we can get a lockdown corner who can defend the pass, but also can come up and make a tackle as well. Just to start out, let's sort by their KM performance. Okay, now that we got them sorted by performance, let's look at let's sort again. Let's sort by number of passes defense to see who in the portal was getting their hands on the ball. Okay. Now let's remove those players who have already chosen a team and just leave the guys who are still searching for their next team. Yeah, so I want a guy who could potentially be there for a couple of years. So let's let's see if we can filter by guys in their first or second year. All right, so now that we've sorted by passes defense, we got some younger guys who could potentially be here, be there for a couple more years. Um, let's see what we got. We got a guy Upton Stout out of Western Kentucky. Seems like he's at a school that goes against similar competition. Could be a good fit. Um, could directly send Upton an offer and see what his interest is. All right, so for all the coaches, looking to figure out how to navigate the transfer portal, this is a tool that can be utilized. You can, group players by their production, by their competition, and kind of identify who could be a potential good fit for the team. So that was 10 minutes with 10 wins. We looked at Miami, Ohio, and their potential opportunity to replace some of the guys, some of the impact players that they lost in the past season.